Thanks for tuning in. This week we're at the Ellie Schiller Homosassa Springs State Park. Watch out, there's bears.
Now you can find Ellie Schiller Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park at 9225 West Fishbowl Drive in Homosassa, Florida. We parked at the west entrance. Take a stroll on this locally adored wildlife walk in Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park, where you will meet an assortment of animal species that are unable to live in the wild. So this state park is unlike any that we have been to so far. There is a walking trail, but on this trail you get to meet all kinds of animals. I mean, hippopotamus, a bear, deer, bobcats,
Manatees, alligators. It's really cool.
It is really, really cool.
They have boat tours. They have a tram. You'll see here that the tram actually takes you to the boat. We didn't take the tram or the boat, but this is this is where they pick you up. When you first walk in, you have to cross the street, and as soon as you get across the street, you go through this little gazebo, and you go right into the visitor center.
When you walk into the visitor center, that's where your gift shop is, and there's a restaurant in there too. But you keep going, and that's where you're gonna buy your tickets from. So you get your tickets, keep your receipt, and then they give you a little stamp. See, we all got little stamps on our hands here.
We've made it to the entrance to the wildlife area.
It says, please do not feed the wildlife.
So,
Hey.
if you know what I mean, don't feed the wildlife. Whoa, there's the sun. There she is right there. And there's that one. Oh, there she is. So we're gonna check out the manatees. Oh, look at this fountain, guys.
Alligators and hippos?
Yeah. The first thing we saw was a manatee, and we tried to snap a picture of us and the manatee, and we did. We got an okay picture. It was a pretty cool manatee. He was just hanging out, not doing much, maybe doing some light sunbathing. The water was crystal clear, so I'm sure he was having a great time. But after that is when we saw the alligator. After we got on the trail, we almost immediately saw this swamp that was covered in this really light-colored green moss, and really gross looking. But it almost looked like you could walk across it. It's like carpet.
They could fool you.
But if you walked across it, you'd be in there with the gators. And believe me, there's gators. And this alligator was right next to the fence. I mean, we could have touched it.
Side note here, I had to pay to see alligators in Florida.
Yeah, we've been here for a year, and this is our first gator. And we go looking for them too. We paid for one, we saw one. So you get what you pay for. After the gator is the wildlife trail, and that's where the first exhibit is some red wolves. They were both injured, but neither one ever more on display when we showed up there. So we didn't get any footage of those folks, of those dogs, of those wolves. So on the walk, the wildlife trail walk, it's a plastic decking.
What do you think that means?
Yeah.
One lady's hair was sticking straight out like she was on a trampoline.
Yeah, and every time you touched anybody, you would shock them, and they would shock you. We shocked Lily over and over and over. She liked it. Now, after that, we did see a huge variety of flamingos. These pink flamingos were beautiful, and they were just having a ball here in the little swamp. And they were real pretty too. So maybe they're onto something. Anyways, there were tons of pink flamingos, and right beside the flamingos were the pelicans, white and brown pelicans. And there were plenty of those guys too. And let me tell you, they have a scent. So just so you know. So this little red fox, he was taking a nap when we showed up there, and there were a lot of people around him when I originally took a picture of him. But I did end up getting a little closer, and we got an okay shot of him. He's a pretty cool little guy, and he's just kind of, looks like a good little pet, actually. I would like to pet him. So they have a bunch of owls on display as well, and we always thought there was just one type of owl, the barn owl. It's not true. There's actually something called a barred owl, B-A-R-R-E-D. Bing, barred owl. And there's something called a great horned owl. As you can see here, all three of them were on display.
Now we came across the barred owl first. Okay, so when we saw the sign, we were like, wait a minute. Have we seriously been saying this wrong our entire life?
We had a good laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been saying it wrong our whole life. So,
But right down the way was the barn owl, so
There are tons of vultures, and yes, those vultures can fly. They're not trapped here at all. They're not exhibits. They're just here for the free dinner.
Here for the fun.
Stay for the dinner. Check this out. This is what we call Vulture Alley. Yes.
I don't know. I'm thinking like Vulture Way.
Maybe Vulture Way. I was thinking Vulture View Way, maybe Vulture Vista Way.
What do you think?
What do you think?
Let us know down below. Would you walk through this aisle of vultures?
Vulture Alley. There's a display for the osprey, and if you don't know what the osprey is, it is it's like a small eagle. And they're aquatic birds, but they don't swim. But they do dive into the water and catch fish, and they're a very powerful bird. These ospreys were hit by cars, and their wings were damaged beyond repair, and they couldn't fly, and they would die in the wild, so the refuge took them in. They also have a display for the bald eagles, and there was just one bald eagle there, and you could see that his wing was not, well, it wasn't there. Some of his wing was missing, and he was also hit by a car. The sanctuary took him in as well. They got a cool American flag with him, and it's awesome to see the American flag with the American eagle, and you get to see him up close, and you always see him flying overhead when you're driving or something, but you never get really close. We got kind of close, and that was really cool. It was still sad to see him sitting down there in that log, though. There was this beautiful white heron, and he was by himself. He was also injured. He had one wing. He was standing on one leg, and he was kind of stretching, and it was kind of looking weird. I kind of got a weird shot of him. But he just was a weird looking bird. But he was one of my favorite ones because he was kind of goofy. Okay, so right next to the white heron was the whooping crane exhibit, and those cranes were a whooping. I thought I'd say that to be funny. But they were pretty cool birds too. They were big. They were like the Florida turkey. And we got kind of close to one here. He was kind of wacky. He was kind of zany looking in the eyes, kind of crazy looking. And then we got a little closer to him, and yeah, he was crazy. That was wrong with that guy. That's why he was there. Crazy whooping crane. He'd been whooping too much. These birds are red-tailed hawks, and they are super fast flying birds, but they are also injured, so they can't fly either. And of course, the sanctuary took care of those guys as well. Bravo to you again. Right past that, though, was the black bear exhibit.
The Florida black bear. This was by far my most favorite exhibit there. This bear was being very silly at the time, so we're going to show you this clip because it was hard to leave. He was really funny. Is it a he?
It was very funny. It is a he, and he was adolescent, and he was acting very funny, and he was playing with a log, as you can see here. He looks like a big dog.
Yeah.
He looks like a big dog. I almost want to go pet him.
Oh,
Lily wanted to pet him.
He was so funny.
Yeah, he's a great bear. We're going to call him Great Barrier Reef. This little bird followed us around the whole time, and he was on almost every arm railing we went to, and he doesn't have a neck. So
He's so cute.
He was cute, and he makes a funny little noise. It sounds like this. Right past the bird exhibit and the bear exhibit was a little theater area. So this amphitheater had some cool artwork. You can see this little frog here. And the little amphitheater is, I suppose, where they teach people and have little classes about the animals that are on display. It was pretty cool. There was nobody working when we got there, but I'm sure there's shows all day long. They have a Florida panther exhibit. It's something we call a mountain lion here in Kentucky, or back home in Kentucky. But here in Florida, it's called a Florida panther, and it is a subspecies of the mountain lion. It looks just like it. And the one we saw, he came right up to the fence and found a bucket. And he really, really, really wanted to just tear that bucket a new one. And he did. He smashed it all up. And then he ran off.
I mean, look at the muscle. This cat is so strong.
It's incredibly strong, man. This incredible monster. If this thing was if you were to meet one in the wild, you would certainly freak out. Put it that way. Right next to the Florida panther exhibit was a bobcat exhibit. There was just one little bobcat there, and he was walking around, looked like a little house cat. Lily wanted to go pet him, but he can jump 10 feet, so you better watch out.
And there's also a Florida key deer that's here too in this exhibit.
Yeah, the Florida key deer. Never seen that deer before, but after today, I had. The deer were right next to a manatee exhibit where they actually take care of like sick manatees. It's like a manatee enclosure.
Yeah, a little quarantine area.
Quarantine area, yeah. There were two of those guys in there kind of pouting around. And right across from them was the springs. That's how they get them in there. They come in out of the springs and they work on them. So those springs, though, were about 15 of those manatees had congregated. Now, got a few shots of those here. They're really pretty. They're really cool animals. I'd like to go swimming with them one day. The water was too cold.
This is Lou. Lou turned 64 years old in January this year. So last month he turned 64. If you didn't know, the lifespan of a hippopotamus is 40 to 60 years.
So hippos sweat sunblock. I don't know if you know that or not, but their sweat has a sunblock material in it.
So check out this little turtle right here. I think that he was intrigued by my phone case that's so shiny because he came right up to the glass and gave us a pretty good show here. So I think that you should go ahead and give this video a like just because this turtle is so cute.
Yeah, that little turtle was really cute. He certainly wanted to play with your phone, that's no doubt. He got right up on the glass. But he was also in the herpaquarium, the venomous reptiles area. And there were about 20 different snakes. All of them were supposed to be venomous. And I can't name them all to you, but they were all pretty cool. So they have the underwater observatory. You can go in, you can go check out the fish underwater. None of the fish came up to the window when we were down there. There was one little school of fish that showed up, and Lily loved those guys. But it was pretty cool being underwater. It was kind of like being in a submarine. But to access the underwater observatory, you have to go downstairs. So there is no wheelchair-friendly ramp or accessibility for that matter. Above the underwater observatory, if you are wheelchair-bound, you can just stay upstairs because they have an observatory up top that shows you the springs. It's really pretty up there too.
On your way out, there's this little manatee statue, and I have to show this because Lily loves this little manatee. Check this out.
I love him. He's so cute. He's so cute.
All right, come on.
So cute. Bye-bye.
So that's about it. It was a wonderful, wonderful little trip. It was like a zoo on the springs. It had a lot of birds, and we thought that was cool. We both love birds. We can't tell them apart, but we love them. We love all wildlife, and that place took care of some pretty hurt animals, so we really, really liked that. They do accept donations, and we will put the link down in the description below if you are interested in donating to them. It's a good cause.
Very well said.
Very well said. And the admission to this place, get this, it's only $13 per adult, and children under 5 are free. So it is worth every penny.
One thing I do want to mention is I appreciate the bathrooms that are strategically placed through this park, especially with the toddler. There was always a bathroom when we needed one, and it was clean, and this was a great park. It really was. We highly recommend you check it out. If you're in the Homosassa Springs area, definitely stop by and check this out.
Thank you for sticking around to the end, everybody. See you next week.